Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I know we're all waiting. We're going to call the meeting to order. Will you call roll, please?
Patty?
Here.
Brian is absent. Marla?
Here.
Joan?
Here.
Kenneth?
Here.
Consideration and action on the consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes of the regular meeting, April 11th, 2024. Is there any discussion or motion?
I move we approve the minutes of April 11th, 2024.
I second it.
Patty?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.
Item 3, we don't have anything removed from the consent agenda. Item 4, public appearances, petitions, communications, and personal appearances. Don't have any of those. Item 5, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible action to recommend approval of ordinance number 500, an ordinance amending Perkins City Code Title 10, Planning and Zoning, Chapter 7, Establishment of Districts, Article C, Commercial District, Section 10(7)(c)(3), Uses by Review, and Chapter 11, Home Occupations, Section 10(11)(4), Restrictions, and Section 10(11)(7), Procedures.
What's the main thing being changed here? Just the,
What this is doing is, the city attorney and I went through this ordinance, and this is putting more authority and control into the hands of the planning commission, specifically by uses by review, or I think they changed specific use permits. So if any of the uses permitted, any of the stuff under number C that's underlined is new. So basically, we added a whole bunch of things that need to be reviewed by the planning commission and approved by the city commission, both prior to being put into Perkins. It gives more authority to the planning commission and the city commission both to determine what we want in Perkins and what we don't want potentially.
so as it is now, none of these that have been added have to be approved by the planning or city commission?
That are underlined, correct.
They could just build without any permission or anything?
Well, they would still have to follow the building code and things like that. It's more about the type of business going in. We tried to expand it because ours was a little bit, what was on it is pool halls, contractor shops, business schools, car washes, ceramic shops, greenhouses, parking lots, restaurants, service stations, and small box stores in this, and then we added all the other stuff that's underlined just to give the authority to the planning commission. So these things could potentially be brought in, but it would be up to the planning commission to review it and make determinations and requirements and then recommend those to the city commission. And it also states the permit can be void if they violate a condition of approval or they haven't done it in 2 years. It puts some more teeth in it as well.
what is considered a home occupation? Are there some things, like if somebody runs their construction business out of their home,
Yeah,
is
it's,
that considered a home occupation? Or
is that in here? There's a separate section in the code reference home occupations. Is that
Okay.
what you're asking me?
Well, yeah, I guess so, because under restrictions, it says specific use permit for a home occupation is intended for, and so I was wondering, we do have another section on.
In addition to this on home
Yeah.
occupations.
Right. Okay.
I believe that's in there so it covers, if you want to do one of these as a home occupation.
You need a specific use permit.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other discussion or questions about this one? Any discussion or questions, or have you had a chance to?
Well, yeah, it's taken a long time. I mean, I think a lot of it looks like it'd be very beneficial, you know, as to what comes into Perkins.
And a specific use permit will be coming to the planning commission for recommendation to the
Absolutely.
council. So
Yeah,
it's not something that is going into the code and, that we don't have any say about. We
Yeah, you're the
examine
first.
each one.
Yeah, you're basically, you would recommend or deny all of them, any and all.
So what if something is not on this list that somebody comes up with?
Then they would follow the regular building codes, planning. I mean, you're still gonna see it. We just wouldn't have to jump through these hoops. That's why we made it much larger and tried to cover things that could possibly be deemed an issue. And then this is also something that can be updated, as time goes on, if other things come up.
One thing is on the marijuana storage facilities and the processing facilities. A while back, a year or two back, we had that, it was a greenhouse that came in, and it was a marijuana grow. Is that right? Didn't they grow the marijuana in those two facilities? Medical marijuana. Or did they process
We had
it?
two at one time, didn't we?
Yes, it was the same night. There were two facilities.
Yeah, okay.
One out there on the highway.
Yep, and then the one over here, what
Yep.
used to be a pottery place.
Yep.
Yes, so that's
No,
a different thing,
your
correct?
state legislators specifically took local control away from that.
Okay. But this we couldn't, if we didn't want these other things, and if we agreed to make this change, we could say no to these other.
Well, I think there's certain things that have to be met in order to say no. You can't just say no, you'd have to go by the I mean, it'd be based on the value and qualities of the city at large and the neighbors surrounding.
So if somebody wants to come in and put something close to a residential area that we think probably should not go there, that's what a specific use is, that we can look at it, talk about it, see exactly what the operation is and how it's going to impact the neighborhood and the city. So,
And then you can also impose, there may be restrictions you want to put
Right.
on them. You got to build fences or what, I don't know, what those might be.
like extra screening or,
But if if the commission were to deem, based on this, that there's an issue with the value and qualities or health, safety, and welfare, then they could be denied.
Okay.
I know it's confusing because we haven't had one,
Yeah, I know.
So you don't know exactly what you're looking at or what
Right.
we will be looking at when it comes in, but, yeah. Do you have
I
anything?
don't have any questions. If anybody else doesn't have any, I'd make a motion, we approve these changes to ordinance 501,
And at 500?
or 500, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're on 500,
500.
yeah. You in here second?
Second. Patty?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.
All right. Number 6, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible action to recommend approval of ordinance number 501, an ordinance amending Title 7, Public Ways and Property, Chapter 2, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Areas of Perkins City Code to add Section 7-2-9, permit required, and 7-2-10, restoration of property and city costs, and renumber the previous 7-2-9 penalty to 7-2-11, and amending Title 10, Planning and Zoning, Chapter 18, Earth Change Permit, Section 10-18-7, exemptions.
So that was a really long way to say, this is the purpose, this is a new ordinance, everything in it is new, and it has to do with our right-of-ways and easements within the city. So the public utility providers, the gas company, OG&E, cable company, phone company, I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head that are in the utility easements, would now have to have a permit from the city before they do anything. If they work on less than 100 feet, or if they install less than 100 feet of something, they don't need a permit. If they're gonna maintain 500 feet or more, they need a permit. So where this is coming from is we have had issues with utility providers, OG&E mostly, coming in and doing things in the easements and not notifying us, like putting up new electric poles on Main Street, doing things in the easements and then not returning the easements back to their original condition, which is leading to erosion and drainage issues. So this would require all of those utility providers to submit plans, notify the city. It basically brings more control to the city so we can pay attention to what's going in the easements, where it's going, how it's going, and then make sure that they repaired any damage they did. Because there have been times where like a cable company came in one time and bored some cable lines, and they bored through a bunch of sewer lines. And so it just adds accountability. They would pay a permit fee. We would issue a permit. If they do have a franchise agreement with the city, There's no permit fee because they have a right to be there, but they have to notify us and submit plans, and so we can see exactly what's happening. And that'll also help us track things within the easements as time goes on.
On page 1 of that ordinance, in number 3, it says along with city, there's no space, and with
Yeah.
ED costs or with it costs? I'm wondering what's that
Yeah,
supposed
that's probably with,
okay,
it's probably a typo.
okay.
I'm just surprised the city doesn't already have something like this in effect.
Yeah, well, you know, Perkins, our whole ordinance book probably came into effect in,
97, I
Yeah.
think, somewhere along in there.
yeah,
We didn't have any codes until then.
yeah, that's how young we are. And then when you don't have enough city staff to spend time focusing on making new codes, you get behind. And that's about what probably every city in the state of Oklahoma, because how we're funded. So you do things, unfortunately, you end up putting out fires and then you realize there was a problem. And some of them get worse, and some of the utility providers believe they're entitled just to do whatever they want. And this will put a stop to that.
Anybody else have any questions about this one?
I make a motion that we accept this 501, ordinance 501, or we approve it.
Recommend approval?
Yes, I think it'd be good.
A second.
Patty?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.
All right, number 7, new business. We don't have any new business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second.
Patty?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.
Okay. Call the Floodplain Board to order. And call roll.
Patty?
Here.
Brian is absent. Joan?
Here?
Marla?
Here.
Kenneth?
Yes. Or here. Sorry.
Both.
Consideration and action on consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes of the regular meeting, April 11th, 2024.
I move we approve them.
Second.
Patty?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Joan?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.
Okay, item 3, we don't have anything removed from the consent agenda. Item 4, public appearances, petitions, communications, and personal appearances. We don't have any of those. Item 5, new business. With all this rain, have we had any drainage problems or anything?
Yeah, we've had some, the usual suspects, the areas that are designed to flooded, and we're still working on the area, the new development behind Williams is not draining correctly. So the engineer has turned in a new set of plans to fix it, And we have an engineering firm reviewing those
Okay,
next week.
okay. Is all the new stuff working okay, though? You know,
The ODOT stuff?
yeah, out there by the school and all that drainage and everything through there that they worked on 7th.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Kirk Street and 7th worked great.
Yeah, Kirk,
Yeah.
I couldn't,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's working fantastic.
okay, good,
There was no issue. Nobody had water. All that drained wonderfully.
okay, good deal. All right, does anybody else have any?
I just noticed there's a lot of sand that's coming out there by the automatic car wash on Knipe Street.
Yeah, that would be silt from the overrun on the ditches.
Yeah. So, it's,
All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second?
Patty?
Yes.
Joan?
Yeah.
Marla?
Yes.
Kenneth?
Yes.